Good morning, everybody. Welcome back from Tom and Scott Selections here for Monday, April 18th. Before we get into today's play of the day, quick recap of what happened yesterday. A couple plays to go through, so I'll go through them quickly. Starting off with the play of the day, we had a nice winner with the Yankees and Orioles no-run first inning at minus 105 on FanDuel. Orioles threatened a little bit at first and second with one out, didn't score. In fact, neither team scored for the first 7 innings, and we had a nice winner there, so keep the play of the day winning streak alive. Then on the NASCAR show, Left Turn Mania, that we do on Friday, the live stream with Scott Steen, Chris King, and I. We had a couple plays there, so I'll go through those. Starting off with the matchup, we had Briscoe over Suarez at minus 170 on DraftKings for 2 units. Probably the worst beat of the race. Briscoe was up by about 15 spots going into the final turn of the final lap, and he ended up going for broke. He went for first place, and he spun his car out, and Suarez passed him. So brutal beat there. Then for the outrights, we had Larson for 0.3 units at plus 650 on Fox Bet. He finished in fourth. We had Kurt Busch for 0.1 units at 50 to 1 on DraftKings as the long shot, and he ended up crashing halfway through the race. And we saved the best for last. We had Kyle Busch for 0.3 units at 16 to 1 on FanDuel, and he won the damn race. So Briscoe ended up screwing us for the matchup, but he gifted us a winner because he spun out Reddick. They were in first and second. Kyle Busch was in third, and with them spinning out, Kyle Busch took advantage of it and ended up winning the race. So we ended up having a nice day in NASCAR, 1-3 for plus 2.4 units. You add that to the play that a winner with the Yankees game, and we went 2-3 for plus 3.35 units. So very nice day. Look for another winning day here on Monday. And for the play today, we're going to transition back to the NBA, looking at game 2 in the Raptors and 76ers series, taking place at around 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. And for the play today, we're going to take the home team here. We're going to take the 76ers minus 7 at minus 110 on DraftKings. Time recording of 6:45 a.m. Eastern time. Couple reasons why I like the 76ers in this spot. First of all, looking at what happened in game 1, Philadelphia really dominated from start to finish. The 76ers scored 131 points, and they won game 1 by 20. The main takeaway, of course, was Maxey, really, and Tobias Harris, who combined for 64 points. Now, do I think that's sustainable in game 2? No. However, I also think it's not sustainable that Embiid only scored 19 points and that Embiid and Harden shot a combined 11 for 32 from the floor. Now, Harden, I know his shooting numbers have not been great lately, so I guess that might be sustainable. But Embiid going 5 for 15, I highly doubt it's going to happen again. And the point is that let's just say Maxey and Harris combined for 40 points instead of 64. Embiid could really go for 40 in any given game, and nobody would be surprised. So I do think that Philadelphia can find ways to generate a lot of offense without Maxey and or Harris having huge games like they did in game 1. So I do think Philly can still do well offensively here. Now, normally, I would be, I'd say, hesitant to overreact to game 1 because Nick Nurse especially is a coach that, historically speaking, loves to punt game 1. He's a coach that's more of a marathon instead of a sprint guy. He'll play game 1, make a bunch of adjustments, and then go from there. You can look at the previous playoff series he's been in since he became the head coach, and the Raptors' record in game 1, not great. However, Toronto not only got killed, they also suffered a bunch of injuries, and I do think that's going to be the story here in game 2. The Raptors lost their best three-point shooter and their best defender. Going through the actual injuries, Thaddeus Young only played 6 minutes. Veteran presence they traded for at the trade deadline. He's been pretty good for that team. He is doubtful. Gary Trent Jr., who shot 38.3% from the three-point line in the regular season, he is battling an illness, and he is questionable for this game, but trending towards doubtful. And Scotty Barnes, the most impactful injury here, who had 15, 10, and 8 in game 1 in 32 minutes, is also doubtful with a pretty brutal ankle sprain that he suffered in the second half. On top of that, I alluded to it before, Barnes is easily the best defensive player on this team, especially with his versatility to guard positions 1 through 5. So with Barnes being out, not to mention the fact that he has also improved dramatically offensively as the season has progressed, but defensively, they gave up 131 in game 1 while also allowing 34 free throws. And now Toronto's missing its best defender. I really have some question marks about Toronto's defense, especially with foul trouble, because we know Barnes can be a bit of a small ball 4 in those Siakam 5 lineups. And now with him being out, you're going to be forced to use Achua more and Kem Birch, and you might throw in a little bit of Siakam at center. But we know Embiid is so good at getting to the foul line that Toronto might end up in serious foul trouble in the front court again. And I'm really not sure how they're supposed to combat that because Barnes gave their lineups flexibility, and now they really don't have it. And Achua was not good in game one. He might have to play more, which is a problem. And I really have question marks about how Toronto's going to stop Philly, let alone score at the offensive end with potentially Gary Trent being out, who is the main floor spacer from the three-point line. But besides that, I mentioned the free throw disparity already. Philadelphia went to the line 34 times, which I'm not sure is fully sustainable. They go to the line a lot. They'll probably end up going somewhere in the mid-20s. But Philadelphia should really end up scoring at least 110 here, probably 115. And I expect Toronto to struggle, especially with how Philly really clamped down defensively in really for the first half. They only gave up 51 points. Then the fourth quarter, they ended up buckling down again, giving up 23. But Toronto, I expect to have some problems in this game from top to bottom. I'm not saying the series is over because Toronto could definitely still come back from 2-0 if Barnes is healthy for game 3, etc. But there's been a lot of line movement. FanDuel now is the line at 8.5. DraftKings still a 7 flat. But with Trent Jr., Young, and Scotty Barnes doubtful, once at least 2 of them are ruled out, I do expect this line to move by at least a point. So Philly should probably close at 8, 8.5. But I'm going to take the team that dominated in game 1 against the injury-riddled team in game 2 at -7. That's a great price. I'm going to take it. So play it once again here for Monday, April 18th. Going to be on the 76ers -7 at -110 on DraftKings. Bye, everyone.